Seabell and Denny Hamlin have meltdowns at Richmond. Let's talk about it. Coming up next. What's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing good today. All right, Christopher Bell joins the long list of drivers who have complained about Ross Chastain. Let's look at his comments real quick.
Yeah, I mean, the wrecking ball came in and made us 3 wide at the last second, and there wasn't enough room to be 3 wide. The one car. The wrecking ball.
So you heard that, and all I can say is take a look at this picture right here. He had at least a car in between him when he was making those comments, and he basically got flamed on Twitter, in my opinion, and he did release an apology. Let's take a look at the apology statement here. After watching the replay, I saw there was much more room than I thought in the heat of the moment. Sorry, William Byron. So after taking no responsibility for the wreck he caused, taking out a guy who probably had one of the faster cars all day and had a chance to win, he doubles down and he takes a little bit of the blame but doesn't apologize to Ross Chastain, who he blamed for the entire wreck. Now this is whatever. He's just throwing shade at Ross Chastain. This is not new. We've seen Kyle Busch do it. We've seen various other drivers do it. We've seen Kevin Harvick do it. You know, name a driver. Everybody has taken a swipe at Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain remains unfazed by all this. Definitely Denny Hamlin, you know, took swipes at him, and we'll get to Denny Hamlin here in just a second. But what I think is funny about this is I mentioned all these drivers that have taken swipes at Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain is living rent-free in these guys' heads. This is the most I've seen anybody get affected by Ross Chastain being around him, or by any other driver being around him, since a young Dale Earnhardt. When Dale Earnhardt got behind people, they drove differently. When Ross Chastain gets behind people, they drive differently. They called Dale Earnhardt the Intimidator or whatever back in the day. Ross Chastain has reached that level of when he's driving around other drivers, they do things that they wouldn't normally do. They do things out of character. Now, I think obviously Dale Sr. was a much better race car driver than Ross Chastain, but Ross Chastain is early in his career. I'm just pointing out the fact that their hard-nosed driving style, their take-no-prisoners approach to racing, I haven't seen anybody at this level intimidate other people literally since Dale Earnhardt Sr. So I think that is the most interesting takeaway from this. I'm not trying to flame Christopher Bell or any other driver that has a problem with Ross Chastain. It's just funny to me the fact that Ross Chastain is living rent-free in these guys' heads. One of the people that Ross Chastain definitely lives rent-free in the head of is Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin, in this particular race, made himself out to be a hypocrite, at least in the eyes of one J.J. Yeley. Let's hear what he had to say about it.
Here with J.J. Yeley. Unfortunately, you got caught up in that first wreck there. What happened from your view? I know you weren't very happy with Denny Hamlin there.
I mean, it was pretty simple. I mean, he just ran me over and got me out of the road. I'm assuming he wanted a caution. I mean, there was no sun in his eyes. I don't know if there could have been anything, you know, from the guy who's been preaching respect for the last couple of weeks. It seemed really silly on lap 32, knowing it was going to be a short run. Obviously, he had no worries or issues, but you know, restart, we're running 2 wide. You know, they just got in a hurry and ran me over. So wasn't much I could do. You know, hate it from sponsors, hate it from my guys. This is one of the better cars we've had this year. They've been working hard on giving me a better product, and you know, they did that part. So you know, we made some adjustments, made the car better, and just had to nurse it to the end.
Well, it looked like you wanted to get him back out there under that yellow, but what kept you from doing it?
I mean, you know, what's the point, right? It's he's damaged my car. I'm obviously upset. You know, I mean, we're not out there playing chicken and mouse for me to go out there and destroy his race car. You know, I doubt that he apologized. I doubt that he really even cares. You know, there'll be a point where you know, he may be in a different position, and then obviously as a race car driver, you never forget those things. So you just chalk that back up and go on from here.
All right, so you see it right there. He took the words right out of my mouth. Denny Hamlin harped all week about drivers not having respect, driving over people, things like that. Went on his podcast and made a point that drivers need to have more respect and things like that. Then he goes out here early on in the race after a mistake that Denny Hamlin himself made, a mistake that he makes often, speeding on pit road. He gets behind J.J. Yeley. He didn't like the way J.J. Yeley was racing him for 30th place, and he wrecks J.J. Yeley on purpose for no other reason than Denny Hamlin was frustrated. The same guy, like I just said, like JJ Yeley just said, spent all week harping on, hey, drivers need to have more respect. I like Denny Hamlin. I like the things he says on the podcast, but I don't like the fact that his actions on the track right now are not matching up to the good message that he had about drivers should have more respect. It was a good message. But then when he gets on track and does things like this, it completely eliminates and ruins the message that he is trying to get across. So I don't know. He needs to take a deep look in the mirror and just start living up to the own words that come out of his mouth. Don't be one of these people who do as I say, not as I do. Don't be that guy. But this one, definitely hard to defend him sending JJ Yeley into the wall for basically no reason at all. This was, I don't know, just a bad look for NASCAR. But at least the end of this race didn't devolve into a crash fest like the other one. So hopefully going forward, the drivers have more respect for each other. But ironically, the guy that was calling for respect the most last week ends up doing something like this. All right. If you got a comment, question, or anything like that, leave it down in the comment section. If you made it this far, feel free to subscribe down below. All your subscriptions mean a lot to this channel, and I really do appreciate them. And other than that, thanks for your time. Peace.